question 8, the first part was done really well, but I probably need to start it off rather than just trying to dive straight into it. It says, the circle C1 has the centre -2, 9 and radius 5. Now it's a good idea to just draw some sketch of what that looks like, okay? It doesn't have to be perfect, I don't even draw axes in when I do it. So -2 and 9, roughly here. So I'm sort of picturing there's an axis like this, and then a radius of 5, so it'd be quite a small circle, like I said, only to give me some sort of idea of what's going on. It then says circle C2 has the centre 10 and -7. So if that was -2, 10 would be miles away, it'd be 12 away. And then if that's on 9, -7 would be ages away. So it's going to be like all the way down here somewhere. Okay, but like I said, this is only a quick sketch to give me some idea of what's going on. And its radius is 15. And if I read the question, it says show that C1 and C2 touch. So I'm going to sort of use my knowledge of that bit to say, well, a circle must be doing something like that. Okay? Now, in terms of if they touch, then that radius of 15 there, this radius plus this radius must be equal to the distance between the two centres. So if the distance is exactly the same, then those circles touch. If it is more, if the distance between the centres is more than the radiuses added together, then the circles don't touch. And if the distance between the centres is less than the two radiuses added together, then they actually intersect in two places. So I need to go and find the difference between the 2 points. So centre A was -2, 9, and B was 10 -7. So the formula that some people like to use is the square root of, and they say the difference in x's squared plus the difference in y's. Now that's something from C1 that we learnt. However, I like to actually look at the picture and just think of Python. Just think, well, it's just going to be a right angle triangle like that. So I've gone from -2 to 10, so that's a distance of 12. And I've gone from -7 to 9, so that's a distance of 16. So using exactly the same formula, but using a squared plus b squared equals c squared in my head, I would have said it's the square root of 12 squared plus 16 squared, which equals the square root of, what is 12 squared plus 16 squared, typo, sorry, is equal to 400, and then the square root of 400 is 20. Now it wasn't good enough to say it is equal to 20, that's what some of you did. You need to say radius 1 plus radius 2 would be equal to 5 plus 15, which is equal to 20. But you need to write a summary now about what that tells you. You need to say, therefore, as distance between centres is equal, circles must touch. Okay, so you could have got asked show that they don't touch or show that they intersect in two places. Use exactly the same idea, but it'll all be to do with your two answers here. So for instance, if the answer here was 18 and the distance, the two radiuses added together was 20, you'd have said because this is less than that, therefore they intersect in two places, and vice versa if they didn't intersect. Part 2 said, given that the circles touch at the point 1, 5, so that's what this point here is, that's 1, 5. Find the equation of the common tangent. So my tangent would be coming through here, touch it in one place. So we must know that that answer there is 90 degrees, where the tangent meets the radius. So we need to find the gradient of the entire radius if we want, or the gradient of just that bit there, or the gradient of that bit there. They will all give me the same answer. Then whatever that is, they need to times together to equal -1. So I'm going to say, for part A2, I'm going to say gradient. Now please show me the maths that you're doing here. When I taught you gradient, I told you to remember dy by dx, okay? Now when we say dy by dx, we're thinking of the difference in y's divided by the difference in x's. And I'm only going to focus on the -2, 9 bit to the 1, 5 bit, but you can use any of the points here. You could use that and that, that and that, or that and that. They'll all give me the same answer, or they should do, otherwise I mess everything up. So the difference in y, so it would be 9 take away 5 over Now, because I did 9 first, take away 5, I've got to do minus 2 first here, and then take away 1. So that would give me 4 over minus 3. But that answer is the gradient of the radius. So therefore, grad of tan would equal 3/4, because minus 4 over 3 times by 3/4 equals minus 1, which is condition. So here, condition for perpendicular lines. Okay, that's what a good exam solution will look like, that you'll actually say what you're doing, why you're doing it, okay? So I'm now going to use y minus y1 is equal to mx minus x1. The gradient I know is 3/4, and then x and y there, minus and minus there. Now, in terms of the values that I'm going to use for y1 and x1, that tangent only goes through one point. It goes to the point 1, 5. So I've got to write in here my y value being 5 and my x value being 1. Okay? So then I'm going to times this side by 4 and get 4y minus 20 is equal to 3x minus 3, and that would be good enough to get you the marks. You could make it look like slightly nicer, get all the x and y's on one side. So we could maybe say that therefore 3x minus 4y plus 17 is equal to 0, or something to that effect, okay? But that would be fine. In fact, you'd actually get full marks as soon as you wrote this line here, okay? Right then, for part B, we'll do that on the back of this. Now, it was only worth 3 marks, part B, but it was quite a nice 3 marks. It says, Gareth has been asked by his teacher to investigate the properties of another circle, C3. Claims that the equation of the circle C3 is given by this. Show that Gareth cannot possibly be correct. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to lump the x terms together. So we get x squared plus 4x plus y squared minus 6y, and then I'm going to take that plus 20 over to the other side to get minus 20, because this is starting to form the equation of a circle. I then complete the square on this bit to get x plus 2 squared, but then minus this one squared, so minus 4, plus y minus 3 squared, but take away that thing squared, so take away 9, which would be equal to minus 20. Take the minus 4 over and the minus 9 over, which would be minus 13. Take that over will become plus 13, which would leave me with minus 7. Now that will give me the equation of the circle is that, which is obviously a load of nonsense. And the reason why it's nonsense is because my radius would be equal to the square root of minus 7, and you cannot have a negative number square rooted. It doesn't exist, okay? So as you cannot square root a negative, Gareth is not correct. Okay? And that's all I need to write for that.